This is Risk and Reward. I'm Elizabeth McDonald, former governor of Arkansas. Mike Huckabee joins me now. Good to see you, Governor.
Great to be with you, Liz.
You know, I'm so glad you're here to sort this all out. You know, the president's trying to govern from the middle now for Main Street with this broad-based coalition, you know, bipartisanship. The question is, how do you get 4% growth when you're taking more money from the upper brackets, including small businesses? He's going to have to face that question, right?
Yeah, I don't think that there's going to be any advantage in saying we're going to go after the people at the top of the brackets and make them pay more taxes. They're already paying more. Now, what he needs to do is to focus on middle class, focus on the corporate tax rate, get it down to 15. I hope he's uncompromising about that. I know that there are some who say, oh, let's do it to 25. No, get it to 15. You'll see an explosion of economic growth. You'll bring a lot of capital to the U.S. that's parked offshore and overseas as people are hiding. And when I say hiding, I don't mean illegally. I mean legally putting their assets overseas because we have the worst tax rate for business on the planet. So growth is the only way that we get out of debt, pay for the things that we are obligated for, like the military and Social Security and Medicare. And frankly, I know that it sounds politically popular to say the rich people, you know, they're going to pay more. But that's nonsense because it doesn't help the economy. And in fact, it ultimately might hurt the economy.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. You know, the corporate tax rate coming down, we get that. We understand that. If the businesses here see it at 15%, they'll say, oh, we'll invest more and create jobs. You know, you've seen the numbers. The top 20% pays more than 80% of all federal tax revenues. That's a fact. But, you know, the media is going to spin it like he's throwing his base under the bus when he campaigned all along saying, you know what, I may want to hit lower thresholds of income with higher rates. He campaigned on that, right?
I don't think that's where he's headed. I think the overall approach that he had during the campaign was lower everybody's tax rates. And that, frankly, is what I hope he still does. Now, is he going to do maybe a plan that will help the people in the middle more? That's fine. I got no problem with that. And frankly, even if he were to leave the tax rates alone for the people at the top, I doubt anyone's lifestyle at the top is going to be somehow affected negatively. I just think that it doesn't send the right signal to say we're going to go after the people at the top because they're already paying so much more, not just in terms of dollars, but way more in the percentage than everybody else in the tax system.
And Governor, you know, this small business guy and gal out there in the Trump base, what are they going to think when they see this story coming out tomorrow?
Well, if they're you know, running their business as an individual, they're going to say, gee, that doesn't help me a bit, because a lot of individuals, you know, they are small business operators. They're paying the top rate. They need a break because they can't hire anybody. They can't increase inventory unless they get some of the government cost off their backs. Many of them have a corporation that they're running through, and if they are, then that's all the better, and all the more reason to lower that corporate tax rate.
Right, so that's how the president wants to protect them.
Operating.
Right, that's how the president wants to help the small businesses with the corporate rate. We get that.
Absolutely.
You know, former Treasury Secretary Jack Lew spoke with Liz Clayman earlier. I'd like your reaction to this soundbite. Let's take a listen.
To me, there are four principles that ought to govern how tax reform is done. One is the system has to be at least as progressive when we're done as it is when we start, hopefully more progressive. Secondly, it has to be paid for with revenue. Third, the scoring has to be honest, because otherwise we're still going to not really be paying for it, and it's going to blow a hole in the deficit. And fourth, we ought not to open new loopholes.
Sorry, this is really nutty. The OECD in Europe says we have one of the most progressive systems in the world already, something Karl Marx would love. What is he talking about?
Well, I think it's nonsense. I think the whole idea of a progressive tax rate is counterintuitive, and it's counterproductive to building a strong economy.
Exactly.
What you want to do is to lower the rates for everyone. And a progressive tax rate, it's punishing people for their productivity. Think about this. What do you need to make a strong economy? You need people to work. You need them to save. You need them to invest. You need them to set aside for tough times. When you punish people for doing the very things that make for a strong economy, let's face it, it doesn't matter whether you're training a dog, raising a child, or growing an economy. Punish behavior, you get less of it. Reward behavior, you get more of it.
You look at history, the Democrats have never behaved like this. JFK, I will say it again until I drop dead, wanted 5% growth.
Yeah.
You know how he wanted to do that, Governor? You've talked about it. Cut tax rates, because under Eisenhower, tax rates were so high, there were economic recessions every other year. Tax cuts are actually a bulwark, a defense against recessions. Go ahead, final point.
Well, I just think that, you know, in a perfect world, we'd have a flat rate. I would love to see the flat rate on consumption, not even on income and productivity, because I still say when you punish the best parts of an economy, which is productivity, you're actually hurting the ability to grow.
I always love how the former Soviet satellite states went to a flat tax like Estonia and Lithuania.